Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to take you through kinetic theory of matter, which is a substrand in mixtures, elements, and compounds in grade 8. First, we need to ask ourselves, what is kinetic theory of matter? This theory usually explains that all matter is made up of tiny particles, and these particles are always moving, even in solids. How particles usually move and arrange themselves determine whether matter is a solid, a liquid, or a gas. In this video, we're going to look at some examples of solids, liquids, and gases, how their particles are arranged, and also we're going to discuss the characteristics of these particles in the three states of matter. Let's classify these substances into solids, liquids, or gases. Think about their shape and behavior. Ask yourself, does it flow? Does it keep its shape? You can pause the video and try to classify these substances into either solids, liquids, or gases. Did you get it right? In solids, we can have an example of a book, a lunchbox, a stone. So many examples we can have here for solids. In liquids, we can have water, juice, tea. In gas, we can have an example of wind and steam. Now let's look at how these particles in the various states of matter are arranged. Now we're going to start with solids. Particles in solids are usually tightly packed, as you can be able to see from this image here. They are also arranged in a regular pattern. They vibrate in position but do not move freely. What are some of the properties of solids? Solids are rigid, they have a fixed shape, they have a fixed volume, they cannot be compressed, and lastly, they do not flow. Remember, we give an example here of a book or a lunchbox. Next, let's look at liquids. How are particles in liquids arranged? From this image here, you can be able to see the particles are close together but not as close as those ones for solids. They do not have a regular pattern and they slide and roll past one another. They are able to do that because they have a little free space between them. What are some of the properties of liquids? Liquids are not rigid, they have no fixed shape, they have a fixed volume, they can flow, they are slightly compressible. Lastly, let's look at gases. Particles in gases are widely spaced. They move quickly and freely. They travel in straight line until they collide. Now, what are some of the properties of gases? Gases are not rigid, they have no fixed volume, they have no fixed shape, they can be compressed, and they flow easily. Lastly, we're going to look at some of the activities we can perform in order to show their properties and behaviors of these particles. Now, let's look at solids. So, the first one you can do is to test their shape. Remember, we said that solids do have a fixed shape. You can try to change the shape of a stone or a book. What are you going to notice? Its shape remains unless you can apply a lot of force, but if you do it on your own, you cannot be able to change its shape. What about the compression test? Now, can you try to squeeze a book? Can you be able to do it? It is not easily compressible. Lastly, we can model the particles. We say they're tightly packed. We can try to stand close to each other to just represent that particles are packed tightly. Then we have liquids. Now, liquids have a fixed volume but no fixed shape. We also said particles are close but cannot move past each other. Then lastly, liquids can flow and take the shape of their container. Let's try a pouring activity. When water is poured into different containers, it changes shape but the amount remains the same. You can try using a glass and a bottle. And you'll be able to observe that the amount is going to remain the same, but the liquid will take the shape of that container. Let's look at the flow test. Tilting the container, whether the glass or the bottle, you're going to observe that the liquid is going to flow. Now let's try a role play for the particles. So learners can be able to stand next to each other, or you can try it with your friends, and you leave some space in between. So this way you would have demonstrated that particles are close together but not as tightly packed. Lastly, let us look at gases. In the properties, we said that gases have no fixed shape, no fixed volume. Particles are far apart and move freely and quickly. And also, we discussed that gases are easily compressed and spread out to fill space. We can try using a balloon experiment. When you blow air into a balloon, the gas expands to fill the available space. Then we can also try to have a diffusion test, whereby we can try spraying a perfume in a room, and the gases particles will be able to move randomly, and the room will be filled with that perfume smell. Lastly, we can try a compression test, whereby we are going to use a syringe to show that gases can be compressed. So that's it for this first substrate. I hope you learned something. You can try to make some few notes on the same and a recap here we have it. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Bye bye.